Okay, so I'm going to present my screen. Please let me know if anybody can't hear or see the screen. So this demo is from uh, Edurika. So there is a online course website, and they are giving a demo on this Android services. So let's see the demo. So I hope everybody can see my screen.
Hello guys, I welcome you to yet another interesting video by Edureka YouTube channel. This is Vaishnavi and this video mainly focuses on Android service tutorial. Often while using multiple applications on your smartphone, you might want to switch from one application to another. But you will also want to make sure that the application that you're currently using can be run even on the background. So what are these referred as? These are nothing but the services that are offered by Android. So this video will help you understand how to run an application in the background. Those are nothing but the Android services. But before we get started, let's take a quick look at the agenda. So first of all, I'll be talking about what are Android services, followed by which I'll be discussing what is Android service lifecycle, and also we'll take a look at the methods that are used, and then we'll see the skeleton code for Android services. And finally, I'll wrap up this session by walking you through a simple demo. I hope the agenda was clear to you guys, and I also suggest you to subscribe to Edureka YouTube channel to never miss out an update on the trending technologies. And also don't forget to hit the bell icon to never miss out a notification on this channel. So I hope the agenda was clear to you guys. So let's get started. So what are these Android services? So when you talk about a service is basically a process. And Android service is a component that runs in the background in order to perform long running operations without interacting with the user. So that means that it does not interact with the UI at all. So these services run on the background. You cannot see them. And these services work even if the application is destroyed. Another application component can start a service and it continues to run in the background even if you switch to another application. Like I mentioned in the beginning, if you want to switch from one application to another, that is from a current application to another new application. When you switch to a new application, the current application will run in the background. And additionally, a component can bind itself to a service in order to interact with it and also perform inter-process communication. So this is what Android services are for. Now talking about the Android service lifecycle. The Android service lifecycle can have mainly two forms of service. So the lifecycle of a service follows two different parts. So they're namely started and bound. So started is also basically a service which is started when an application calls the method start service. So once this method is started, a service can run in the background indefinitely even if the component which is responsible for the start is destroyed. So even if you close the application, the service will be running in the background. It is stopped by using stop service method. And also the service can also stop itself by using the method stop self. So this method helps in stopping the service all by itself. Now talking about bound. A service is bound when an application component binds itself by calling bind service. So the bound service offers a client-server interface that allows components to interact with the service and also send requests, get results, and many more. It processes across inter-process communication, and the client can unbind the service by calling unbind service method. So this is how the lifecycle of the Android services looks like. So like I mentioned, there are two forms. You can see that for the start service, you first create the service by using onCreate method, followed by which you'll have to use the onStart command, which is an overriding method. And it will start running the service. And also the service can be stopped by itself or a client from the external source. Once it is stopped, you can also destroy the service by using the method onDestroy, and this will eventually shut down the service. So these are for the unbounded services. And talking about bounded services, You have to first call the bind service, followed by which create the bind service, and also use the onBind method to get all the unimplemented methods. And also the clients are bound to the service, and all clients unbind by calling the unbind service. So you use the onUnbind method in order to get the details of the unbind service methods. Eventually, it will destroy the service and also shuts it down. So this is exactly how the life cycle of the Android service looks like. So moving on to the next section of this video, let's discuss about the different methods under the service class. So there are a few methods using which you can easily perform operations on any application. Some of them are namely onStart command, onBind, onUnbind, onRebind, onCreate, and onDestroy. So what exactly does an onStart command does? This onStart command method is called when any other component, like say for example an activity, it requests the service to be started by calling the start service. Now talking about onBind method. This method is called when any other component wants to bind with the service by calling bind service. To implement this method, you must provide an interface that clients use in order to communicate with the service. It also returns an iBinder object. If you don't want to allow them binding, then return null. Now this is about the onBind method. Moving further, we have onUnbind. The system calls this method when all clients are disconnected from a particular interface published by the service. This method is called when the clients are not connected to a particular interface. Now talking about onRebind method. This method is called when new clients are connected to the service after it had previously been disconnected in the onUnbind method. So this adds up the new clients to the connected service after the onUnbind method is called. Now talking about onCreate. This is an important method, guys. So the system calls this method when the service is created for the first time using the onStart command or onBind. It is required to perform a one-time setup. Now talking about the last method that we have, it is onDestroy. This method is called when the service is no longer used and is being destroyed. Your service should implement this in order to clean up any resources such as thread, registered listeners, receivers, and many more. So this basically helps in removing the unwanted or unused services in your system. Now, moving on to the next part of this session, we'll take a look at the skeleton code. Here you can see that I've used most of the methods like onCreate, onResume, onPause, and many more. These methods basically make up the structure of the services in Android. So this was just an example to show you guys that I've used these methods in a program. Now moving on to the hands-on part of this session, let's see how you can create a service and handle it. So in this demo part, we'll be taking a look at how exactly you can play music in the background. So in order to do that, I'll be using Android Studio. For people who don't know how to use Android Studio, I'm going to be putting up a link in the description box below. There's another video by Edureka, which is Android Studio tutorial. So if you guys don't know how exactly Android Studio works, or for people who are very new to this topic and who are watching this for the first time, you can refer the video and you can get a gist of what is happening. Now, the first step I'll be doing is I'm going to be opening Android Studio. So I'm going to search for Android Studio. This is a very useful platform in order to work with demos or if you want to create an application on your own. So all you need to do is understand how Android Studio works. It's loading the components. I've already created a project, so it is showing the name of the project. I'll be creating a new project for you guys so that you understand how exactly you can write a proper code for your application. So I'll be going to File, go to New Project. So you have to select Empty Project over here and click on Next. The name of your project, so I'm going to be giving it as Service Project. And you can select the language of your choice. You can either select Kotlin or Java. I'm going to be selecting Java in this case and click on finish. Yeah, it is going to open it in a new window. All right, so you can see that the project is syncing. Yeah, so the build is complete. So the first thing you have to do here is go to applications. Yeah, you can see that this part of code is already written. Just zoom it for you. Yeah, you can see that this part of the application has already been written. I'm not going to be altering any of these. So the first thing I've done here is I'm going to click on Java and go to com.example.service project. And here I'm going to click on main activity. This is where the program lies. So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to create a media player. So as I mentioned, I'll be helping you guys understand how to run an application in the background. So I'll try to make you guys understand how to run music on the background, how to play music on the background. So here I'm going to be creating a media player. Create an object of it is equal to media player dot create. Here I'm going to use the interface that is this, comma, settings dot system dot default. So here you can select the music of your choice. I'm going to be selecting the alarm alert. Okay, so I'm going to add this over here and end it with the semicolon. So I hope this was clear. So once you're done with this, consider the object of the media player, that is player dot set looping, so that it plays in a loop. And this takes the Boolean value, so I'm going to provide it with true, right? Then player dot start. Okay, so that it starts the process. Save it and try running the code. Also do note that you have to select the device of your choice. So in this case, I've selected Pixel 2 XL. If in case you're not able to access a device, go to Open AVD Manager. And here you'll be given the name. I'm going to go to here. You can select any of the devices that are there and click on next. It'll be asking you the version that you want to download. I've downloaded the latest version, that is Q. You can either go for Oreo or Pi. Now, if in case you're not able to do this, all you need to do is just restart your system. And while the system is restarting, you have to click on escape. If in case you're not able to access this, it'll be showing you an error saying that BIOS is not enabled. That is basic input output service. So this should be enabled in order to work with the Android services. So the basic input output service should be enabled, guys. So all you need to do is just restart your system and then click on escape so that you get the option of BIOS. And there you have to click on enable. So once you enable it, you'll be able to access any of the devices of your choice. So I already have a device, so I'm not going to be worrying much about it. You can say that the name is present over here. I'm just going to click on run applications. Okay, it's still building. You can see that it is over here. Okay, so this is Google Pixel 2 XL. Okay, without any error, this has been completed. Yeah. Okay, you can see that it is displaying hello world over here, where I haven't given any text or anything for that. You can see that it is playing the music over here. And if I click on home, this will still be playing. And if I open any other application, it will stop. So this only plays when one application is currently running. Okay, that is that application or the home button is pressed. That is when the application will be running. If in case you switch to another application, the corresponding application collapses. That is, it does not recognize it in order to play the music in the background. So in order to do this, let me just quickly walk you guys through how exactly this can be done. So I'll be dealing it with adding a few corresponding code to the application. So once you run the corresponding code, you'll be able to run the application and you'll be able to play music on the background. That is, if any other application is open, the audio will still be playing. So let's see how this can be done. So the first thing is I'm going to create a new class under this Java folder. I'm going to right click on it, go to new, and then I'm going to call this as my Android service tutorial. Click on OK. So this is the new class. All right. I hope this is visible to you guys. So this class extends the service class. So I'm going to write here it extends service. Okay, this is for Android application service. Okay, it is throwing an error saying it must be declared abstract or implement abstract method. So I'm going to click on Alt, Enter. So you get implement methods. So just click on implement methods and on bind. Yes, we discussed about this method earlier. So yeah, we need to include this method in our project. So click on OK. So these are the methods that will be implemented. So after this, I'm going to be overriding a few methods. So I'm going to right click on this, go to generate and override methods, where I'll be using two methods, that is on start command and on destroy. Hit on control in order to select both and click on OK. So these both methods will be included in this section. Now we need to include the music in this part of the program, that is under the on start command. So I'm going to take off this return statement over here and go to main activity, copy these lines of code, yeah, and paste it over here. Okay, import it. And you can see that it's throwing an error. It says missing return statement. So in order to include the return statement, I'm going to be declaring that as a private method. So player. So here I'm going to be pasting it as private. All right. So this is all dealt with. Now, in order to return, I'm going to say return start sticky. So this start sticky will return the status of this program. Now, don't forget to delete this part of code here because it will play twice and it will be an overlap. All right, so here it is. And in the on destroy method, you need to stop the process. When we've started the execution or we've started the execution in the on start command, we need to stop the execution in the on destroy method by using player dot stop. All right, save it. I hope you guys are clear with this. Now, once you're done with this, let's move on to the next part where you have to alter a few pieces of code. Now go to results, click on layouts and go to activity main. So this has a design and also the text version of it. So you can either design your layout or else you can add it in this text section. That is, you can code it. So I'm going to go to the text view and I'm going to take off the text view over here. And I'm going to add the linear layout for this section. So linear layout. Yeah, match parent and wrap content. Android layout. Center vertical is equal to true. All right. So once you've done with this, we are going to create two buttons in order to make you guys understand how to start and stop the execution. So I'm going to be using button, the wrap content, match parent, and then I'm going to add a few more lines of code over here. I'm going to say Android ID / button. So this represents the start button, and I'm going to add the text over here. Android text start service. So this will be displayed on the button. Also, I'll create another button. So I'm going to copy this and paste it over here. Okay, so the IDs would be button stop, and this will be stop service. I think you guys are clear with this. I hope you guys understood how exactly you can create two buttons. Now, when you take a look at the design over here, you can see the two buttons are included over here, that is start and stop. Now, if in case you want to move them, you can actually drag them over here. Yeah. You can also edit them over here. Okay, so the replacement, or you can also place them in the center. So I'm going to just add another one, that is Android align. Okay, then take a look at this. Okay, so it is align the text in the center. So the Android orientation I'm going to be adding over here. So Android orientation would be vertical, right? I'm going to add the same over here for this, that is Android text alignment would be at the center. Now take a look at the design. Yeah. And after this, let me go back to my main activity, and I'm going to add the buttons over here. So I'm going to use start, that will hold button, and I'm going to find by view, and I'm going to specify the ID, that is r.id.button start. So this helps in starting the process, followed by which we have stop. So here I'm going to add the same button, and I'm going to find by view r.id.button stop. You can see that it is throwing an error over here. So the first thing I'll be doing is I'm going to include them over here as private start, comma, stop. So these are of the button type. So specify button. There are no errors over here for now. We're going to use the listeners as well so that they could listen to the process properly and respond correspondingly. So I'm going to say start, set on click listener. Yep. I'm going to use this interface over here and stop, set on click listener. This. Okay, just showing an error here. It says that on click listener, the view cannot be applied. So all you need to do is implement the listeners class. I'm going to implement on click listeners, and I'm going to click on Alt Enter and implement the methods. Click on OK. So you get another interface which says public void on click, which has the parameters view. So here I'm going to say if, I'm going to use if view is equal to start. Okay, so if the view is equal to start, I'm going to say start service, where I'm going to use new intent, right? Where I'm going to use the interface this, followed by which I'm going to use the class name, that is my Android service tutorial, right? Dot class. Okay, so this should follow the extension dot class and click right. So I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to say else if, I'm going to paste the same. All I'm going to do is just say stop service. I forgot to mention the condition here, so I'm going to say if view is equal to stop. So I hope you guys are clear with this. And also another major thing that you guys need to remember is include the project name in the manifest, that is android.manifest, which is of the form XML. So you have to include this under your application. So I'm going to say service, as we're dealing with the service, and you can see the service name is already popping up. That is the name of the project. So I'm going to click on this. All right, save it. Now let's try running the code. Yeah, you can see that it has two buttons, which is start service and stop service. So once you click on the start service, it is going to play music even if you open any of the application. As long as you want. Yeah. Start a chat. You can type whatever you want. Edureka. Right. Clear this. And if you click on the stop service, it is going to stop the service. So until and unless you hit the stop service button, it is going to play the music throughout. So this is exactly how Android service works. So this was a simple example on how to play music in the background while you're working on any other application. So this will be similar with all the other applications that you use on a day-to-day life basis. So if in case you're new to Android development, kickstart your learning with Edureka now. So with this.
Okay, so I hope you understood what was said in the uh, demo. So basically what she said is like you have an Android service. Android service is something which runs in the background. When you make a functionality for your application and your application is minimized and you start another application, then whatever is done in your application will be stopped. If your application want to run in the background, then you should have some kind of a service implemented in that application. അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ആ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷനകത്ത് കാണിച്ചത്. ആദ്യം ഒരു മീഡിയ പ്ലെയർ ഉണ്ടാക്കി. അപ്പോൾ ആ മീഡിയ പ്ലെയറിൽ സാധാരണ സർവീസ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ലാതെ സിമ്പിളായി മീഡിയ പ്ലെയറിൻ്റെ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് മീഡിയ പ്ലെയർ ഏത് ടോൺ വേണം കേൾപ്പിക്കാൻ എന്നുള്ളത് പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുത്തിട്ട് പ്ലെയർ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തു. ഇനി ആ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ റൺ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ പ്ലെയർ റൺ ആവും, ടോൺ കേൾക്കാം. ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ മിനിമൈസ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിയുമ്പം കഴിഞ്ഞ് നിങ്ങൾ വേറെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ആപ്ലിക്കേഷനാണ്, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഗൂഗിൾ ക്രോം എടുത്തപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങളുടെ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ആവും. കാരണം അതിന് ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് റണ്ണ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള പെർമിഷൻ നിങ്ങൾ കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ റണ്ണ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ അതൊരു സർവീസ് ആയിട്ട് വേണം ഇംപ്ലിമെൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ. സോ നെക്സ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റെപ്പിൽ ഷീ വാസ് ഡൂയിങ് വേർ ഷീ ക്രിയേറ്റഡ് എ സർവീസ്. ഒരു സർവീസ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. ആ സർവീസിനകത്താണ് മീഡിയ പ്ലെയർ റൺ ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പം അതിനകത്ത് കാണിച്ചേക്കുന്ന 2 ബട്ടൺ ഷീ ഹാസ് ഇംപ്ലിമെൻറ്റഡ്. ബട്ടണിലുള്ള ഈ ലിസണർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ അപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ അറിയണം വെൻ സം യൂസർ ക്ലിക്സ് ദ ബട്ടൺ. അപ്പോൾ ആ ബട്ടൺ ക്ലിക്ക് കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഓൺ ക്ലിക്ക് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു മെത്തേഡ് ഓവർറൈഡ് ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ ഓൺ ക്ലിക്ക് എപ്പോഴും നിങ്ങൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് സർവീസ് ബട്ടൺ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഓൺ ക്ലിക്ക് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഫംഗ്ഷൻ വിൽ ബി കോൾഡ്. ആ ഫംഗ്ഷനകത്ത് വ്യൂ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പാരാമീറ്റർ ഏത് ബട്ടണാണ് കോൾ ചെയ്തതെന്നുള്ളത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടും. അപ്പം സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ബട്ടണാണ് ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്തതെങ്കിൽ വ്യൂ ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു സ്റ്റാർട്ട് വരും. ആ സ്റ്റാർട്ടിന് വൺസ് യു ക്യാൻ ചെക്ക് ദ കണ്ടീഷൻ. ഇഫ് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ആണെങ്കിൽ യു ക്യാൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ദ മീഡിയ. അതല്ല യൂസർ സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ആണ് ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്തതെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യണം, സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് നിങ്ങൾ സർവീസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യണം. അതാണ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റി ഓൺ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തത്. നമ്മൾ സർവീസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തു, ഒരു ഇൻറ്റൻറ്റ് വെച്ചാണ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തത്. സോ വെനെവർ യു സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ദ application, whenever you start the service, it will run in the background. Even if you minimize the application and go to some other application, it will still play the music because it is running as a service. Now if you want to stop it, you should go back and take your application and click stop service. നിങ്ങളുടെ സാധാരണ മൊബൈലിലുള്ള മീഡിയ പ്ലെയറിൻ്റെ സെയിം ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ, അതിനകത്തൊരു മ്യൂസിക് പ്ലേ ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് പകരം നമ്മളൊരു ടോണാണ് പ്ലേ ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതാണ് ബേസിക്കലി സർവീസിൻ്റെ ചെറിയൊരു ഡെമോ. സോ സർവീസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇത് വളരെ സിമ്പിളായിട്ടൊരു ഡെമോ ആണ്. ഇതിൻ്റെ നമുക്ക് ലോങ് റണ്ണിങ് പ്രോസസ്സൊക്കെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ യു ഷുഡ് ഓൾവേസ് ഇംപ്ലിമെൻറ്റ് യൂസിങ് സർവീസ്. കാരണം ലോങ് റണ്ണിങ് പ്രോസസ്സൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഫോർഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ, അതായത് ഇപ്പോൾ യൂസർ ഇൻ്റർഫേസിലൊക്കെ ഇംപ്ലിമെൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് സ്റ്റക്ക്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആ മെസ്സേജ് കിട്ടും, your application is not responding to it എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു മെസ്സേജ് കിട്ടും. അതിലും ഭേദം യു റൺ ദ whatever functionality you want in a service if it takes long time. ഇപ്പോൾ ചെറിയ സമയം മാത്രം എടുക്കുന്നു. ഇപ്പോൾ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് രണ്ട് നമ്പേഴ്സ് തമ്മിൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്യണം. സോ യു ഡോണ്ട് വാണ്ട് ടു റൺ ദാറ്റ് ഇൻ എ സർവീസ് ബിക്കോസ് രണ്ട് നമ്പർ തമ്മിൽ ആഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ നോട്ട് ടേക്ക് ടു മച്ച് ഓഫ് ടൈം. സോ യു ക്യാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ഓൾവേസ് ക്ലിക്ക്, you can enter the number 32 and click add, you will get 5. So that is simple application. So it will not take more than in microseconds. So longer application always should be running in a service. Okay, fine. So now you can mark your attendance.
സർ ഫെയിൽഡ് ടു സെൻഡ് എന്ന് കാണിക്കുന്നു.
വാട്സാപ്പ് ചെയ്യോ? Okay, so if you have marked attendance, I would like to know if Fawaz is here. Fawaz undo undengil just turn on your mic. Fawaz undo. Okay, so somebody just tell him to contact me, EC1 EC2 le arengilum, either by call or WhatsApp. Okay, fine. So we'll end the session here. Phone kedayadana. Okay, so just somehow contact him and tell him to contact me by any way. Mail ayilum kodapilla. Okay, okay. So I will stop our class here. We'll meet on Monday again. Thank you.